Hello everyone and welcome to Beyond the Bricks, our new podcast series that we're going to be doing this season for Indycar and anything else that you guys want to see. We are back with James because it would honestly be rude to do it with anyone else. How are you doing, James?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. I think we've seen two-time champions crowned in IndyCar, two new Indy 500 winners since we started, including, of course, Marcus Ericsson. And we haven't been doing this for a while, but it's nice to be back because they were good fun to do. And hopefully you did enjoy them. We kind of lost our way a bit. So yeah, we're back this time and we'll be doing a few more this time.
Well, we need to get subscribers to start timing how long it takes James to mention Marcus Ericsson in a podcast, because that must have been a record as well.
I don't know. I think we had a couple of really, really quick ones. I can't remember when he binned it in the wall in Long Beach at 2022. That was probably the fastest ever. But yeah. No, if you guys get your stopwatches out and you'll be ready to go in no time because me and Marcus Ericsson. I don't know if they can see the poster in the background, but that's celebrating the Indy 500 win as well. But we're here to talk about 2024. I guess it's been a while since we've talked about anything IndyCar in depth, so we thought we'd just give a nice sort of season preview, get people's teeth into it. So yeah, Dylan, what do you want to kick off with for 2024?
I want to know who you're backing for the championship and who you're backing personally. Like, who do you want to see perform? Obviously Marcus Ericsson, but anyone but Ericsson for once, if you can. So yeah, who are you backing for 2024?
Well, I've always liked Jack Harvey. I think I felt it was difficult for RLL. I got a bit of goosebumps when he went faster on his third lap on bump day, and then bumped Graham Rahal out. So there's rumours circling. Obviously, he did the first 2 days of testing for Dale Coyne Racing. So it'd be nice if he was in the 18 car, and if he was, I'd back Jack Harvey as well as, of course, Marcus Ericsson. And then there's others I kind of look out for. I'm a fan of Kyle Kirkwood. When IndyCar asked you who you were most impressed with in 2023, I remember writing about Kyle Kirkwood, and then they posted it on Instagram, and I felt really, really sort of honoured that I was sort of flying the Kyle Kirkwood flag. So yeah, I think I'll be looking out for him. 2 wins last year. I'm hoping for a little bit more. I wonder if Andretti can get their short oval package together, and then also their super speedway package, because I think that their driver lineup of Ericsson, Herta, and Kirkwood could be one to beat this year. Dylan, who are you rooting for?
I was going to say on the Andretti point as well, they kind of got to get their strategy together as well, because they had so many opportunities to win races last year that went down the drain due to strategy. So fingers crossed they can get that sorted as well. But for myself, I think this year I'm going to back Tom Blomqvist. I do like Meyer Shank, and I do like British people. I don't know if anyone can tell. But also Pato O'Ward, because it would be rude not to. I'm wearing the Pato O'Ward shirt, given to me by the lovely people at the FMS store. It's gonna be one of those things. How long will it take for me to mention the FMS store this season as well? But they sell awesome stuff, awesome t-shirts, models, and all that. So go check them out if you haven't already. But apart from those two, I'm excited to see how Rinus Lundqvist does as well. Obviously, I made a video on him not long ago. I think he's a very talented driver, and obviously Chip Ganassi, a pretty highly regarded team. So fingers crossed, Rinus Lundqvist can get a few podiums here and there, and maybe a couple wins. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, are you excited for the start of the season, James, or is that a stupid question?
I think that's a really terrible question. I've been excited for the start of the season since Laguna Seca at the end of 2023. Well, it was actually September. We've been away for so long from IndyCar. Not just we've been away from this podcast. IndyCar has been away from us. We have been rid of our favourite sport for such a long time that it would be great to have it back. And I know the anticipation builds throughout March and April for the month of May. And when we get to the month of May, you guys will be treated to plenty of podcasts. I think that's really kind of where we missed out on in 2022. We missed the trick. Well, we did our last one on the 1st of May. I was having a look, and then we didn't kind of get our big sort of Indy 500 predictions in, and then we missed qualifying. And so by that point, we were just we were both so busy that actually with our final exams that in the end we couldn't do it. So yeah, we're back, and this time we're actually ready to go and raring to go, and I'm sure all the IndyCar drivers are as well. Dylan, I guess if we look at the schedule as a whole, then we start off with St. Pete, and then we have actually quite a large gap between the first and second point scoring races of the season, with a non-points race at the Thermal Club in between. But then over the course of the season, bit of juggling around thanks to the Olympics and the new season finale in Nashville. What events stand out to you? What are you most looking forward to?
I'm excited to see the Milwaukee Mile back. I'm not always a massive fan of small ovals. I do prefer super speedways, and I think the lack of Texas does suck. And I always get comments actually from NASCAR fans saying it's hilarious hearing people miss the Texas Motor Speedway, because by the sounds of it, it's awful in NASCAR. But I think it's brought us some incredible IndyCar races over the past few years. So it's a shame to see that one go. But I always like seeing old tracks come back. I like seeing new tracks on the calendar. And obviously the Milwaukee Mile stands out to me this year. But I also think it's a shame that we don't have more ovals in general. Like, think Pocono would be awesome to have back, although it does have its issues. And I mean, it's a shame that I was talking to you about this the other day, wasn't I, James? About IndyCar going to Daytona. What do you make of that?
Well, I feel like the oval would be out the question just because it's too high banked, and when you look at kind of IndyCar's shift away from pack racing over the course of the 2000s, and then obviously we had that terrible incident in Las Vegas, and that really sort of put a stop to the majority of pack racing. I know we've had little bits and pieces. 2015 MAV TV 500 at Fontana, and then 2016 I think it was XPEL 600 at Texas Motor Speedway. Two incredible races, but also that's not quite what the series is aiming for, just in terms of what they see as IndyCar racing, which is fine. But so the oval would probably be out the question, but the Roval, like the road course oval, that might be fun. Especially, we've seen the Daytona 24, watched about 9.5 hours of it. It was pretty good. I actually didn't get to see Marcus Ericsson compete once in it. All the times that I was busy, he was racing, and when he was resting, I was watching it. So I think I'd love to see Daytona, and there's so many good tracks that IndyCar kind of could make the most of. I guess the avoidance of Daytona maybe is to do with like the NASCAR thing and IndyCar trying to be its own thing. And I don't know if they were to use the Roval, it would be its own thing. But, even then, they're trying to play that fine balancing act. Would you like to see Daytona? Or maybe I'm thinking somewhere like Homestead, Miami would be a great race, or, something like that. Just somewhere a little bit kind of, something a bit new, really. Because as you mentioned in one of your videos, the schedule just kind of happens at the moment. So what do we think?
I don't know. I do believe that we are kind of due some exciting tracks to join the calendar. Not that we don't have some already. It's just I feel like some of the tracks on the calendar are a bit mediocre, and obviously we have quite a few like double headers in general. And it would be so much better to remove the double headers and just see more tracks. I don't know. It's hard to just kind of pluck them out of the air, because there are budgetary restrictions, there are kind of location restrictions. Like, they can't just come to Donington if I ask them to, you know what I mean? So, I mean, as great as it would be, we would absolutely love to see IndyCar over here in the UK, but I can't see it happening in the next decade even, or ever for that matter. But that's fine. I mean, IndyCar's a good sport. IndyCar's got great racing, and it's going to kind of force me to go to America at some point. So, yeah, but brace yourselves for the vlog of that, because that one will be a good video. I can guarantee that. So, but yeah, what about you, James?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, of course, we had a look at the calendar. That was one of your videos, and we chatted about it beforehand. And I think, when Pato O'Ward says make the most of what IndyCar was, and what IndyCar has been, and what IndyCar can be, places like Latin America certainly should be on the radar. When we talked about Australia, I know Surfers Paradise wouldn't quite work in its sort of format at the moment just because of construction and things like that. But, Japan as well, although, again, Motegi is kind of out of use since the earthquake. But, again, there's lots of opportunities there, especially with who the engine manufacturers are and what kind of things we might looking to bring in. And Donington, I think, actually, you say isn't viable. I think it is viable because the UK's largest cargo airport with DHL is really, really close to the track. And of course, DHL is one of the largest sort of moving parts partners of Indycar. They now sponsor champion Alex Palou. So it's not like it's impossibly out of the question. I can't remember who I was speaking to that was saying that they do want it, but it's about finding a promoter to sort of pay the fee to do so. But yeah, I do agree with you that moving tracks would be better because I can't lie, we had basically the same Iowa race twice this year with some intrigue, some different bits and pieces, and then also Joseph Newgarden won at the end of it. And so when we have two in Iowa and two at the Milwaukee Mile, it might be the same, We have some different bits and pieces, some different drivers have incidents, but at the end of it all, Joseph Newgarden will win. So, I kind of agree with you. I think there's scope to open up different bits and pieces, but that's, I guess, a conversation. We could do a whole hour on what we wanted from that. So if we maybe channel our focus a little bit towards 2024 then itself, the first part of the season, of course, the main elephant in the room there is the Indianapolis 500. Do you see any early contenders and who you'd actually like to win? Maybe Helio Castro Neves wins his fifth, or someone you believe really deserves to have one, or maybe a second. What kind of who do you think, if it wasn't the drivers that you mentioned earlier, who would you like to go? Oh, that's a nice story. They kind of should win another.
Stingray Rob.
Easy, to the point.
I'm not going to elaborate. If Stingray Rob wins the Indy 500, I'll sell my channel for free. I'll just give my channel away for free to any of you. I'll do a channel giveaway if Stingray Rob. Oh my god. Nah, he's not going to. It's fine. Although AJ Foyt can put together a pretty decent oval package for the Indy 500, so yeah, that might be a concern.
You've got sort of 3 months and 20 odd days left on YouTube, Dylan. It's getting a bit nervy. It's just not looking good now. That was a brave one.
I think a Penske driver will win it again. I think Will Power could get a second. Maybe out there shot. Maybe Scott McLaughlin.
I backed Scott McLaughlin in 2023. And lost.
Yeah.
I do always think, because he looks so composed on ovals, right? But I guess maybe on the oval, he just lacks that killer instinct that a Newgarden kind of has. When you look at, we reviewed it. It was one of our few podcasts, was the 2022 XPEL 375 at Texas Motor Speedway. And that was when, McLaughlin led whatever 180 odd laps of the 248. But Newgarden had that killer instinct where he knew that as soon as McLaughlin didn't pass Malukas on the final lap into 3, he had a chance and he just took it in one go. So, I think, I do believe that Penske will be strong. I can't still look past the fact that Aaron McLaren turned up last year with the 4 fastest cars and didn't have anything to show for it in the end. I mean, no driver in the top 4. That was pretty crazy to think that both O'Ward and Rosenqvist in the end left Indy with nothing, despite the fact they looked like two of the best. And, Alex Palou, race was undone by Rinus VeeKay last year, put on perhaps the most impressive recovery drive ever to go from 28th to 4th. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see Dixon win a second, personally. I mean, I think I'd be an idiot to write off Pato O'Ward. He doesn't have the composure at the moment. I think last year, he 100% had the fastest race car at the end of that race. And he even had the fastest car. He had the fastest car around the majority of the ovals last season, I think, Pato O'Ward. And he's a good oval driver. But he just can't remain composed when he needs to be. And obviously, we saw him crash out at the Indy 500 last year, which was absolutely gutting. And I think I had a Domino's pizza on my lap, and I think I actually threw it on the floor because I was watching it with my mates. And I'd actually put a $5, because we did a little bet. I'd put a $5 on Pato O'Ward to win. My mate put a $5 on Palou
no one bet on Newgarden, which was obviously a shame for everyone. But yeah, for some reason, one of my mates like bet on Ed Carpenter or something like that. I think they just pulled the names out of a hat. But yeah, Pato O'Ward should win a few more races this year. And I'm thinking about making a video soon, actually. Like about the fact that 2024 is an important year for Pato O'Ward. He dreams of driving in Formula One, but when you can't string a good few races together in IndyCar and contend for championships, I know he did in 2021.
2021, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's taken out by Ed Jones in Long Beach.
Yeah. I can't remember if that was 2020 or 2021. My brain's just mushed with the last few years, but yeah, he needs to get the ball rolling quickly. I think that's what I'll say about Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like, he's obviously a strong driver. There were multiple occasions last year where he couldn't, where he should have won. We finished second in, was it 3 of the first 4 races or something? And you're like, whoa, that's quite a shock that he hasn't won any of them. I mean, obviously the biggest one was he absolutely dominated the PPG 375, and that was a great sort of battle they had with Newgarden. I mean, the end of that was unbelievable racing, like the top 8 just scything it out, everybody, they were going at it, and Texas allowed it to. I mean, the problem with Texas in recent times was the PJ1 that they put down for NASCAR, that sort of darker tarmacy stuff, just made an IndyCar like driving on ice. And not only did it not make the NASCAR great, if we go by Dylan's comments section, but also it made the Indy worse, and that's annoying. And I think Texas would have been really well supported had it come round this year, because one of the problems with Texas was they couldn't get enough bums on seats, right? But after the amazing 2016 race, where the grandstands were reasonably, there was a good showing, but not unbelievable. 2017 was jam-packed because the bit of 2016 was unbelievable. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame. But Pato O'Ward definitely needs to get the ball rolling. Yeah. Yeah,
it is coming back though, Texas, isn't it? It's not gone forever.
Yeah, it depends who you believe, really. I think. Yeah, Dylan, that might be a little bit hopeful. I know they said they want it back, but then also there's some umming and ahhing about that. So we can live in hope, but if it doesn't come back, I don't think I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be upset, but I wouldn't be totally shocked. I guess the other driver that needs to get 2024 is a very important year for Colton Herta. Probably his worst year in IndyCar in 2023. Just a couple of pole positions to show for it. Nothing really massive. I mean, chucked away a chance at a win at Road America thanks to bad strategy. And yeah, I think Herta really kind of this is big stuff now, because Kirkwood 2 wins last year, well settled into Andretti Autosport. And Marcus Ericsson as well, established race winner, Indy 500 champ. They're going to be hot on his heels. He may no longer be team leader at Andretti, and so he's got to kick on straight away. And I think this is a big year for our 2018 Indy Lights, the 2 guys that went for the 2018 Indy Lights title.
I don't know. I was going to say I think Carl Kirkwood will be the future poster boy for IndyCar. There's something about a young American who's obviously graduated Indy Lights, come into IndyCar, performed well in his first 2 seasons, and honestly, it might be an out there shout, but I don't think Andretti's gonna be Kirkwood's home for very long. Andretti has a fast race car. They just cannot string race weekends together at the moment. And I could see Carl Kirkwood going to the likes of Chip Ganassi or Penske in the future. Penske especially. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, kind of like a Newgarden, really. Graduated the Indy Lights program Newgarden went into a smaller team to kick off with for 2012.
He went to Ed Carpenter.
Well, that was initially Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. I think that was what it was called for 2012, and then when that merged in with Ed Carpenter, that was Newgarden's home and went to Penske. But I think for Andretti, they've nailed their street course package. There is no reason to say that there's. I mean, the evidence shows they were quite clearly the fastest team on street circuits last year. 2 wins in Nashville.
Together.
Should have won in St. Pete, and they were very strong. But it's that short ovals. I think the short ovals are the real kickers for those because if you get a short oval wrong, you get it very, very wrong. I mean, we saw the AJ Foyt cars were something like 6 and 9 laps off the pace in the first race in Iowa, so that makes it almost impossible for them. I wanted to mention Rinus VeeKay, right? Almost goes under the radar in terms of doing things, then turns up at Indy, and his Indy record at qualifying is stellar. It's 4th, 3rd, 3rd, 2nd. So, pole position? Maybe.
There's no reason why he can't win it.
Yeah, well, he's got to actually drive straight out of the pit lane to start off with. That normally helps. I don't know. I actually think that's a pretty good outside shout. I think Rinus VeeKay is a shame because I think he's a really talented driver, and I just feel for him. I think if he was at any other team, he'd be spoken about more. So like Rinus VeeKay, if he was at McLaren, if he was at Andretti, if he was at Chip Ganassi, if he was at Penske, he'd be a much higher regarded driver. I don't know if you agree with that. No, I do. I think he often goes under the radar because it's difficult with Ed Carpenter Racing when when they've kind of got so much promise on different circuits. They're very hit and miss. Like 2022, for example, Barber Motorsports Park, he was tip top. Indy 500, he was tip top, and then there were other places where they were just completely anonymous. And so, I think it's a little bit tricky for young Rinus. I think he's a very, very talented driver, and maybe one that kind of deserves a move. I remember when I was kind of predicting silly season last year, I was like, oh, he will jump into a Chip Ganassi racing car or something. But it didn't quite come off for him, and he's still committed to Ed Carpenter. So I guess that shows some good loyalty and that kind of thing. But a little bit of a shame. Should we do some sort of quick fire championship predictions then? Like before we've even seen a car roll.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say we're running out of time in this one. So do you want to wrap it up with some championship predictions, and then we can kind of talk about the off season more so in the next episode?
Awesome. I'll give you my 3 main players. Right. I reckon Dixon, perhaps time for number 7. Newgarden, 3 second places in a row before then 3rd place last year, but he won the Indy 500. He's got to be wanting more, and difficult to look past Pato O'Ward. I reckon McLaren will be resurgent.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to say Stingray Rob. No, I'm joking. You gotta give me a second. I haven't even thought about this yet. I want to say. I want Pato up there. I do. I really want Pato up there. I just don't think that he's going to be consistent enough. So I'm going to go... Okay. I know. I've got it. I'm going to say Joseph Newgarden for the championship. Okay. I'm going to say Scott Dixon 2nd. Pato O'Ward 3rd. Did you do a top 5?
Oh, I just did a top 3. I just listed names. Otherwise, I would have had to have had Alex Palou.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got Joseph Newgarden, Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, top 3.
Cool. It's difficult to look past the champion, but he surely can't do it again. That was a ridiculously in 2023.
That's the thing. For my 2022 predictions, I made the predictions video. I didn't even have Will Power in my top 10, by the way. I didn't even have Will Power in my top 10. Then he won the championship.
And you had Romain Grosjean in the top 3, and he finished 13th.
Yeah, okay, that one aged like milk. But the worst thing about that video was the fact that Alex Palou himself commented on the video saying, "Ouch, man, that hurts." It's because I didn't put him in the top 5.
But he also finished 6th in the championship that year, or maybe 5th. So, Dylan is a visionary in some facets. Dylan.
Forget it then. Joseph Newgarden, Alex Palou, Pato O'Ward. I don't think Scott Dixon's going to continue the format from the end of the season into the start of next season. I don't know.
You can never ever count out Dixie.
No.
In my view.
You can't. That's the thing with IndyCar. You can't count out anyone. You want to do some F1 predictions? Just say Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. Easy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Here you can't count out anybody. Dylan, do you want to wrap this one up? I guess it's really nice to be back. And these predictions are going to be terrible come September.
Yeah, no, exactly. Laugh at us in a year. Oh, well, yeah. It's not really a year, but thank you very much for watching the first episode of Beyond the Bricks, our new podcast series. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below so that you don't miss out on any of the episodes. And I don't really know how it works on Spotify and Apple.
I would just say, yeah, you can give us a follow on Spotify and give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed. And check out Formula Model Shop and use code Dylan5 at checkout for 5% off and loads of indie goodies.
There you go, James. See, James is getting in the promotion now. But seriously, he's right. They do sell really cool stuff. And if you're an IndyCar fan, you won't regret buying any of it, especially if you use my code, because it also means that I can do some cooler stuff on the channel. Anyway, yeah, as I said, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next episode. But until then, take care, and thank you for watching.